Okay, here we have the ACT Maintainor. This is a multi-unit or 6-bay battery charger. The Maintainor was specifically designed to look after batteries from portable radios that sit for long periods without being used. And it's very bad for batteries to sit permanently in chargers which don't have some smarts that shut down for periods so that they don't constantly overcharge the batteries. And that's what this charger is designed to do. Uses some fairly clever techniques for assessing the status of the battery, which virtually all other manufacturers have no means of doing. So let's have a look at this thing. On here we have, as I say, 6 bays, numbered 1 to 6. Each bay has a multi-pin connector for the adapter plate to be put onto it. Then you buy a suitable battery adapter plate to suit the type of radio you've got. So here we have an SRP 9130 Simico portable radio adapter. Here we have an SRP 9180 portable radio adapter plate. So you can see they're a little bit different. Now these are fitted via that multi-pin connector. You can see on the bottom here. You line that up onto the charger base, push it home. 2 screws are normally inserted here and here to attach it. They come with the adapter in a separate little bag, and they're inserted into the socket. Okay, so normal setup might be for several of these adapters. If you've got a fleet of radios, you would continue to add these pockets along the charger base. And the second thing that's available for this to help you maintain your batteries is a gadget called the iGuage. This is the iGuage here. It's another adapter which sits below. It sits below these, but you only generally require one of these iGauges. It has a digital readout, and it allows you to assess the status of your battery. And from that, you can make an educated, not a guess. You can make an informed decision about when to get rid of the batteries or whether their status is good, bad, or indifferent. So we would fit that typically straight onto the base. Once again, pushes onto the multi-pin connector. That continues through to the top. We then take the appropriate battery adapter plate and fit that to the top of this. And when you get the iGauge, it comes in a packet. You get a couple of longer screws, which then go through in the same screw position, goes from the adapter plate through the iGauge and attaches to the base plate, holding it all firmly in place. So I'm not going to fit that in this particular instance, but this is typically what we would end up with. Okay, so we'll add these. As I say, this would continue. You would have one iGauge and up to 6 of these pockets. Now you might have a different model radio, as I mentioned, in which case you would want to have a second iGauge to do battery assessment. So a second one of these is fitted, and the other style of adapter plate is fitted, and so on. So we again could have a number of these. And here we have 3 SRP 9130 adapter plates and 3 SRP 9180 adapter plates, and an iGauge for each of the series of battery adapters. So we'll plug that in. There's no on and off switch. It's simply a power socket on the bottom here for the power cord. This switch needs to be set to 230 volts for Australia. We plug that in. The unit will fire up immediately. You'll see this comes up saying loading adapter. Same on the other one. It then comes up saying capacity gauge. These two charger only positions simply come up, don't show anything until a battery is put in. If I then get a battery, plug that in, push it home, and you'll see that goes into charge mode, and the fan will start at the back to dissipate any generated heat. So while there's a battery on, the fan runs. Same happens with this. So these pockets simply charge, that's all they do. They will do a battery charge function only. They'll indicate a fault, and they'll indicate when they're ready, when they've completed the charge. So the where's it gone for me? Okay, take that battery out. Now back over in the iGuage pocket, we can see here, if I place this battery into here, I push it down, you'll see it comes up saying charging, and does a countdown from 30 seconds down to 0. During this period, if you want to put this into it, if you don't do anything, this will simply operate the same way as these other two pockets and will charge. If you select capacity check by pushing the top button and the bottom button to activate the capacity check, this battery is now put into its diagnosis mode, and the iGuage will, over a period of around about 10 hours, analyse this battery by running it through a number of charge and discharge cycles. On completion, this will indicate charge complete, and the bottom line during this changing status on the display, the bottom will indicate the number of milliamp hours of capacity left in the battery. But as I say, that will take about 10 hours to do that. So once that's completed, you can simply apply a sticker to the battery and put on it the date and the capacity of the battery when it was tested. So this is a 3000 milliamp hour battery. The date stamp tells me it was October, so that's the 10th month of 2010. That's from 10 through to 13. 10 through to 13. So that's 2010, month 10. It's now down to 2,746 milliamp hours. Equally, this one is down to 2,774. This one was down to 2,365. This one's at 2,967. This one came up at 2,112. So they're all getting a bit ordinary. This one's, I would consider complete write-off at 1745. That one came up at 1081. They came up with fault conditions, so it would have just come up, and on the display it'll say fault. So it lets you make an assessment of your batteries, and from that you can make a decision about when they should be replaced. Knowing this is supposed to be a 3000 milliamp hour battery, 2365 may be too low, or 2112 may be too low, and certainly 1745 or 1081 I would deem as being virtually useless and not recommended that you would continue to use that. These battery adapter plates here, same deal. This is a SRP 9180 battery. We'll pop that on. Clips into place. Just check that. Okay, that's clipped into place. Starting its cycle. Want to do an analysis? I push that. Capacity check's now initiated. And in a few hours, we'll have an assessment of that battery. Standard battery, as mentioned, put that on. Make sure it's clicked into place solidly, and the charge light comes on indicating it's gone into its charge cycle. So there we go, the i85 Maintainor, intelligent battery charging.